Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rise of the Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Kara.
And I'm impatient.
Technical difficulties.
Well, it's the start of the new year, everybody. It's 2020.
It is.
We are now, what podcast number is this? 35-ish?
Who wants to put money on who knows what's the right answer?
It's 34 then. No, it's 35.
I was going to say we posted 34. I think it's 36.
Ooh, Chris, what's the answer?
It's 35.
Oh.
Ah.
I remember
right off my
seeing you
first
post
guess.
something that said episode 34, and I was like, I couldn't remember how long ago that was, so.
Well, we just hit a big milestone, which is really kind of cool. We hit 1,000 likes on Facebook.
Yeah, like 5 minutes ago.
Yay.
That
No
is so
message
awesome.
does 1000. I was like, yes. So
Maybe he's just speaking in binary.
I mean, that's true. Which
Um,
would just be a. Technically, wouldn't it be?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't speak. Ask
I'm
Bender.
not. Yeah.
Because would it be 001010001?
Don't. It's going to hurt your brain.
Yeah, my brain already hurts.
You just activated the world code or whatever that was. Remember the 0101?
Right.
Yeah, the portal's open.
Yeah, the portal's open. But anyways, no, it's been a really fun year, and we kind of talked a little bit about some of the things we accomplished in the last podcast. But I wanted to talk about one of the fun things that I've got to experience over the past week now is your brother AJ
Yes.
just released his very first video, basically. And it's been really fun because Chris doesn't realize how much inspiration has been traveling downhill. I'm getting a little teary-eyed thinking about it. So, Chris and I have known each other for a long time. We've
Yep.
shot tons of videos. We've covered that a billion
Since
times.
the second grade.
Which
Since
we
the second
need
grade.
to post.
No.
those
No,
videos.
never. Let's
No.
just not talk about the past ever again.
Okay, so anyways.
Always.
So AJ has a woodworking business, and he started time-lapsing his woodworking videos. And he
What's the
released
name
his
of this
first one.
business?
Delarnia Woodworks.
Link in the description.
Actually, JK, he changed it. Delarnia Woodworking Company.
Okay.
There you go. So we'll put a link in the description. You should go check it out. And what's really fun about this is, I know he broke all the rules of cinematography by filming vertical, but for what he did do is
Or Chris, he's raging over there.
You know what? Maybe if everybody does vertical, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am.
I can talk about this. I was thinking about this the other day. I was just thinking that people, as much as I hate to admit it, I think vertical video is accepted in certain situations in today's age. As much as I hate to admit it.
Well, Facebook forces it when you're doing a live stream off
Yeah.
your phone, which
Yes.
makes me just.
Hey, Facebook, get on that. Fix it. Force people to do it wide. Teach them right.
Yeah.
At least give them the choice.
Well, there's a whole
Now-
subreddit called Praise the Cameraman that is when people actually film horizontally and do a good job. And
Now, I will say this. There are certain people, I don't know how they work this, but it's annoying as heck, but they record it portrait mode. But then when it gets uploaded to Facebook, there's two black bars on the side, so it ends up being landscape mode.
Oh.
So even if you
yeah.
flip it sideways, you're still seeing this tiny little video instead of like a full widescreen thing. It's like,
Yep.
can I smack you?
Well, so here's the thing that bothers me. Jeremy, pull your phone up for a second.
okay.
All right. So show the camera the cameras on your phone. Turn your phone around.
Oh, got it.
No. They want.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. So you see how those cameras are way up in the top corner of the phone, yet the image still looks right? Why can't they make it so that if you hold your phone like that, it can shoot in freaking landscape?
Oh, I see what you're
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
Because
that
like
makes
if it's more
perfect sense.
comfortable, I understand if people's arguments like it's more comfortable to shoot like this. That's how you hold your phone. Why can't you just make it just force rotate the image? Because the
That's-
circular sensor, it's just falling out, or a circular element. It's just
That's
how
a
it
really
lands
good
onto the
point.
stupid sensor. Just decide that you can shoot landscape in portrait mode.
I
So
wonder
like
if
what you're
you
saying is
could-
right now, if I hit a button, it would show
It
it,
would rotate the whole-
horizontally,
yeah.
but I can keep my phone up.
Yes.
It wouldn't even have to be hardware controlled. It would literally be firmware controlled.
Yes, and I've argued this ever since people started shooting stupid vertical video.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't have anything to do with like the sensor or anything like that. It's just how it decides. It's just using the accelerometer to decide what the orientation is.
Correct.
So you should be able to just flip the orientation in the software.
That makes sense
Right.
to me.
I wonder if you could develop like an app. if Apple's not going to do it, I wonder if you could develop an app where it will flip it for you.
I'm sure they probably even already exist. The problem is nobody wants to do the extra work.
That's true.
If the thing is in there, if it was right next to the thing where it's like, oh, selfie camera or front facing camera, if they also had a thing being like landscape or portrait, and you just hit the thing.
Smart.
But
Yeah.
here I am just being angry about things that
There
nobody
is
cares
there is a
about.
cool thing that if you shoot a picture, there's a portrait mode you can shoot with all three cameras. So it'll blend like if you take a picture and you're like, oh, I cut off someone's feet, you can go back in and you go into the crop. It'll let you pull more than what the picture took because it lets you capture from other cameras, which is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
So you can like recover some information. And that's the same thing as like Intel was coming out with that focus thing where it's like you could take a picture, but it like grabs the entire thing infinity, but then adds the blur and you can switch between focuses. And but anyways, I wanted to what I was inspired by today was I wanted to kind of talk about doing a lot with a little.
Right.
And that is one of the things that we used to do back in the day. And you were maybe thinking about doing a panel at that some point in your life is like low budget filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
So Kara, you got a toy. And this is, from what I've experienced in the little bit we've got to mess around with this thing, if you were going to be a brand new person at YouTube, I would say this probably would be one of your first purchases. It's $100. It's DJI. It's a gimbal for your phone.
Yep.
And what's fun is because your phone has really great cameras on it. I mean, even the phones
Should I
from a
try
couple years
balancing
ago.
this and everything?
That's pretty easy. You work on that, and then So here's what's fun about this. This gives you the perfectly smooth video. And because your phone takes care of a lot of the settings for you, the app comes with some good software that lets you control like your shutter speed and stuff like that. But because they understand everybody might not know that, you can. You want to balance it. You want to balance it first. So.
I forget how you go into balance.
So you want to completely shut it off
first?
You want to completely shut it off.
Okay.
All right.
Because okay, here we go. Chris is like, oh, jeez. Oh, okay, I got this.
Now we're all watching Kara patiently.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, so here's what's fun about this is you can set this up to do time lapse. You can do. We have a slider we use for the Lego builds. This will do a simulated thing. It'll move and sweep through it. It'll do panoramas. There's a lot of opportunities you have. A lot of cool footage you could grab with this. So this in combination.
Yeah, and like I think a lot of people's advice, like if people are on the fence about doing video stuff or starting a YouTube channel or whatever, is like start with your phone, right?
Yep.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. I would argue that starting with an iPhone is harder because Apple devices don't want you to take your footage off of their phone for some reason.
That is my beef. That is for sure.
But aside from that, like you said, like the cameras in people's pockets today are insane. You know, so then
I would recommend people go check out AJ's video. That's Kara's brother. It's like 2 minutes long, and it's him making one of his projects. And for he sold the piece that was premiered in the video. And if you want to up your game, think about if you make something on Etsy or if you make some sort of craft, you could really up your potential product placement by making a video of it and documenting it.
Yeah, some of the best videos I've seen on YouTube are process videos.
They are. There's a suggested video that came across my thing today, and it's a guy who details cars, and he films the pre and post grime and stuff that he gets off the car. And that's kind of like the whole ASMR feeling that you get when like something's dirty and then it's clean. It's like, I can relax.
Yeah, and
how amazing is it?
And similar to that, I've watched not that I ever wanted to do a polished job or whatever on the inside of my engine compartment.
Right.
But watching people do that, it's like in the before and after, it's like that looks so much better.
I totally agree. So Kara's just kind of showing off. So Kara, it's balanced now, right?
It's balanced now. I'm trying to connect. There we go. There.
Okay, so now like move your phone around a little bit and you can kind of like show off what that does. So what that does is it takes all of your like handheld camera shake off of your phone and it keeps the sensor level. And then there's a joystick on there that allows you to control it as well. And that joystick gives you the opportunity to get really cinematic movements that you couldn't do handhelding. And when I shot a video and I used my phone to do some B-roll. And I tried to like hold my phone and like push in and do a shot. And it just felt so awkward and impossible. That something like that is you could hold it and then you can like move in on the subject or move out or.
Yeah, you're giving yourself access to extra axes of motion.
Totally.
And I like you just have to double click the power button and you can go from portrait to landscape.
So there you go. That's Chris's solution to be like, oh, hey, you don't like holding your phone?
Yeah.
Double tap one button and it rotates it for you.
And there's a little zoom button on here. So you can do zoom and the little trigger here will lock it in place so you can do that. Otherwise, you do have some of the... But anyway.
So, yeah, not a
She's
sponsor.
cool.
They won't bought this today.
Yeah, I told Jeremy I needed it. So I was like, since he has, you can put it in sleep mode too. But since Jeremy's got the Mavic Pro 2 and he's got the
I have a camera, that I used to shoot.
and
Kara wants.
Jeremy's got all the new toys, so I was like, I want this one. It's only $100. It's mine.
I think that in combination with a phone, you could start a YouTube channel, no problem. It's got a tripod adapter that plugs into the bottom, and you could just set it up and you could start recording. If you like cooking or baking, you could easily use this to make some awesome YouTube videos. Really, really awesome YouTube videos. Or Instagram, you did it for the gram.
There's some preset settings in there for doing stuff like that too, which is really freaking dope.
It's really, really cool. So I highly recommend, that's something that would be super helpful that we never had back in the day.
The idea of like the steady cams existed back then.
Yes.
But that was the most portable version of a stabilization system, was an actual steady cam. It was just a mechanical system that absorbed the shock, and then you had to learn how to walk a certain way,
right,
to make sure that your Z-axis, your Y-axis, you weren't bouncing it, and then your lateral motion was taken up by this big backpack counterweight arm system. So whereas this uses motors to stabilize stuff.
Yeah, and it's so quick. It's just so neat. So that's something I highly recommend. Here's what's cool too, is a GoPro is a very common entry-level camera. And the interesting thing about GoPro, the new ones have some great built-in stabilization, both electronic and is there some sort of...
I don't know if they have a floating sensor thing or not, but I know that the stabilization's honestly pretty impressive.
It is really impressive. Did you know GoPro makes a gimbal?
Yes.
It's very expensive.
Yeah,
that was sitting next to
$100 for your phone. The dumb GoPro one.
Well, and I like GoPro stuff.
It was, if I recall correctly, it was supposed to be part of a system where you could use your GoPro between GoPro's drone, GoPro's gimbal, or the regular accessory thing or whatever.
I get it, but yeah.
But yeah, so it's ostensibly the exact same thing as that, but we'll just hold a GoPro, Correct. And I think it's like $400, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And in the GoPro drone, I think it was something crazy, like $1,500 or something.
It's crazy. So that's kind of something I thought was really neat when we started off.
Yeah,
but
definitely a good price range. Did you talk about what AJ shoots on and stuff like that?
Yeah, so AJ shot the video on an iPhone 6, which looks pretty good.
Impressive. And he did all the editing on his phone.
And he did all the editing on his phone, which is what...
I don't even know how I would be able to do that. I'm going to say that, so take this for what you will. I hate touchscreens.
I know. I agree.
I've never liked touchscreens. It's just they bother me. I'm just not precise. If I have a mechanical button, I can hit the button.
Right.
The touchscreen is I feel like I hit the thing and it just is no, you wanted to press this instead.
And you're like, no.
So the idea of editing a video using just a touchscreen hurts my head. But people are younger and smarter than me and more capable of whatever. I'm just impressed that he was able to do that on his phone.
You should see his timeline because it's crazy. It's really crazy. And then importing audio, we've talked about, there's a file structure that you have where you have your camera video files go in one and your project folder goes in another, and you can compartmentalize your footage and then pull from where you need to pull to build something. It's kind of like Legos. You've got bag 1 and bag 2 and bag 3, and you open them up and grab the pieces together. And
with video, it's file 1 and file 2 and file 3.
It's the same thing, and but when you're on your phone, it's all in the background.
The nice thing with Legos, though, you have instructions right there. This is exactly how you do it. With video, it's all
you have to make the instructions up as you go.
Exactly.
Yep. You have to make them up as you go. So that's what's kind of fun. I think there's a lot of potential, and I really think a lot of brands could benefit from having video added to their thing, to their production. It'd be something that you're already doing the work to make the thing.
Right.
Easily set your camera up, and
it's one of those things where people have talked about this on Facebook or other social media things. People don't even stop to read text only posts anymore. Right. So it's having at least an image of some type will at least make people stop to look at it. But and the videos don't need to be long, a 30-second or a minute-long video or something where it's hey, look at these brand new cupcakes that I made or whatever. And here's a little bit of how they're done, or just some nice, interesting B-roll of it. It will make people think about it more than just.
Well, it's so true. When I'm scrolling Facebook, if I see something that's over a paragraph, I scroll. I don't even as a paragraph sometimes too much, and I'll scroll right past it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing too. The app that comes with that gimbal, it helps you understand how to shoot B-roll. It gives you examples and it breaks it down into clips on how to shoot. I think it's a tremendous creativity tool for a brand new person who's trying to get into film. It's kind of really
We
fun.
should get DJI to give us some money. Dang.
Seriously, come on, yo.
Well, if you want one of these, we'll put a link in the description.
Yep.
How about that?
And it's not even a sponsor link. It's just you just go and buy it.
I was gonna say DJI should give me the Pocket now, the Apple Pocket.
So you can, if you can.
So you can record yourself recording yourself.
Exactly. Who
It's
doesn't want to record yourself recording
recordception.
yourself?
But that's just one thing. When we first shot, we got Slave One Lego and we built it. Kara and I did at home.
Mm-hmm.
I used a lamp with a flexible neck, and I
And we
rubber
rubber
band the
The-
phone.
Yeah.
I have the video. I'll cut it up into something, and we'll put that on the channel, and you can compare our time lapses that we do here to one of those time lapses.
Just as an important disclaimer, I was not involved with that.
Chris was not involved with that time lapse. That was just
Well, I
something
think
that was like,
we built this even before we discussed starting.
Yeah,
a
this is like
channel.
February. I
yeah,
think
this
you
was
did that.
February, a
So-
couple months before the channel.
Yeah, Chris wasn't involved with it at all. It was just us, Jeremy and I, just like, it'd be fun to do a time lapse. This is a cool build, Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Look
And
where your
we
lives
use-
are now.
we use this is going to destroy you internally, Chris. We use the time lapse feature on the iPhone, which determines the length of the time lapse not during it, but when it's done. So if you have a 30-minute time lapse, it'll cut in, or 30 minute of footage, it'll cut into like a minute. If you have 4 hours, it'll still cut it into like a minute. It
Oh,
removes
I
frames selectively depending on how long it is, because what they're trying to do is make it user friendly, right? So if you want to watch a flower like open up in the morning or something, you're gonna have to let that run a long time, but you still want the footage to be, you want the end product to be dynamic.
Yeah, you don't want someone to have to sit there for 13 minutes to watch it happen.
Exactly. So the phone has an algorithm that does it, and so all of the frequency of the builds, depending on, because we did it bigs at a time, some of the clips, I cut it all together. It's like 8 minutes. It's super long of just time lapse footage and one top down angle, and that's it. No other angles, but it's neat to see the idea, and like the lamp, and we used it to like frame it up, and you can see the edge of the table, and then the lamp would slowly give because the leverage on the flexible
Yeah.
neck and stuff like that. But
Also, I'm going to say I've still yet to see. There's one channel, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but they do like I sent it to you. They do like the car rebuilds and stuff like that.
Yep.
Outside of them, I haven't seen people even do multiple camera angles on time lapses.
right.
So
And
and,
that's-
even the one that rebuild one, it's like you get one angle for the duration of one part of it, and then it
Right.
jumps to the next part. Like we have multiple angles of the entire thing. Like we could cut these videos together 30 different ways.
right.
It's true.
Oh, generates so much data. So
Yep.
much data. There's a fun post we did on Reddit about that. But there's some cool other, tips and tricks. There's a billion videos out there to how to enhance your stuff. But off the top of my head, it's like use your natural sources of light. You have your windows, you have your things like that. You can easily get like a cheap piece of foam core to use as like a bounce light.
Oh yeah.
I'll say the best $25 I ever spent was that 5-in-1 reflector.
That is such a versatile tool.
We've actually used that for some
I've used it for a lot of projects.
wedding photographs and stuff.
Yes,
Yep.
we did.
No, it's
Engagement
super,
shoots
super,
and stuff.
super, super useful. Oh, I use it all the time. You can use it as a flag, you can use it as a scrim, you can use it as a diffuser, you can use it as a bounce, you can use it as a fill.
It takes a second to figure out how to fold it into itself.
Yeah.
But
That's how you look super impressive when you're just like.
I know exactly.
Yeah, right,
We're
right,
like,
right.
what? And you're like, whoosh, done.
But
That's pretty fun.
yeah, so it's like, I think like what we're sort of
That's okay.
taking a tangent here, but sometimes it's worth investing a little bit into something to get like the dramatic improvement between having no light and having a light, right?
Right.
So it's like, and even if it's something like Jeremy brought this up before the thing, the first set of light stands and stuff that I had, I built out of PVC.
Yes.
For like, honestly, now you can just buy light stands cheaper than I built those, but I didn't really
At
have
the
access.
time,
Yeah,
yeah.
at the time didn't have access to light stands. And then I just used like the painter's lights you get at like Walmart that have like the clamp,
Yep.
and then just some high wattage bulbs.
Mhm.
And it's like, and that's what it did. And then if you wanted to diffuse it, you just put some like parchment paper in front of it to like diffuse the light a little bit. It's like
Yep.
all like really cheap solutions for doing something. 'Cause like, this is an example from work now. You can walk into a place and it looks beautifully lit, and you start like, and you can film in there and it'll look fine and the commercial will be okay. But
Right.
you can tell the difference between a shot that was shot just using the ambient light, just getting a little bit of extra fill to like make the subject pop is just, it's the most basic, biggest difference thing that I do versus other people.
It's like seasoning food. You know,
yeah.
If you eat their food with no seasoning versus, throwing just a little bit of salt and pepper really can make your food pop. Just have that extra oomph.
Yeah, so like Jeremy was saying, it's like shoot closer to a window, move a desk lamp, and do something to get a little bit more light on a thing. Is a very cheap or free way to increase production value. I'll say, don't shoot in corners, don't shoot against walls. Those things drive me insane.
Stand away from them a little bit.
Yeah, the idea is, even with a camera like the iPhone, where it's like you don't get like great depth of field unless you're right on top of something.
Right.
The further away you are from your background, the better the subject stands out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like, and I understand, like we shoot in one of the most cramped spaces in the universe. This is like 11 feet wall to wall.
You'd be surprised. The first thing we've heard from every single person who came down here is, wow, this is really small. It looks much bigger on camera.
Yeah.
It's like I'm like here, I'm touching the wall here, right?
Yeah.
And then
like what, 6
I
inches
mean,
from my hand
like
here, 8 inches.
yeah, so you can see we're 11 feet across or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not very big.
Yeah.
Like I could.
And we guys are kind of right up against this wall, but it's an interesting wall at least.
Right.
You know, it's not
And
just a
that's-
white wall.
Yep, that's intentional. That's 5 pieces of wallpaper that Kara and I rolled onto the wall to get that.
If you want to test your marriage,
Yeah.
hang wall.
Well, the thing is too, because like it's like that whole wall was like what, like $100 or something.
Yeah, not even. Yeah, well, with the wood paneling stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and those are buy two. I think it was buy two get two free or something like that.
But we didn't use all of them either.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
But
But like a permanent backdrop in your house, you could easily dedicate one wall to filming.
so yeah, it's just like there's some small things, and like maybe someday we'll do like here's like 10 easy tips to whatever. But
Right.
This was more than the gimbal, the wall, the lights.
Yep.
So let's talk about the gray elephant in the room here. If you guys know when you
Typically
watch
the color relevance, yeah.
Yeah, right. A gray elephant from Denmark, right? If you watch some of our other videos, you know we do Lego builds, and if you see this, you can imagine what might be coming out soon.
Soon's a relative term.
We have built this, and we filmed it. The video will be coming out. Chris is working on it, and it's pretty much ready to go. With all that being said, which is a common tagline on this show,
For one of us.
Right.
we just talked about how small the space is. We have nowhere to put this now.
Yeah, that's literally where it has to live.
We have nowhere in the studio, seriously, in all seriousness, to put this.
Oh my
It is that big. It is ridiculous. So I like to switch stuff out on the set every week. I will not be able to do it for the
I was gonna say, you
foreseeable
guys aren't going
future.
to see that for a while. Yeah.
So
It's going to be the Star Destroyer.
yeah, that's that. We built it. It was a lot of fun. It was what, 12 and a half hours of building.
That's
Is
just
that just
wait.
how we need
We're gonna have to
that.
fix it.
Yeah.
But
That's the Galen Urso section.
yeah, that's the thermal exhaust port. It's not any bigger than 2 centimeters or 2 millimeters or something. But that's really fun. We've got a lot of fun Lego builds. We have a lot of fun stuff planned for this year. We're going to be hitting more conventions. I know we're going to be hitting GalaxyCon for sure, and the Star Wars Celebration. But that's already planned. Like those are already prepared, bought, ready
I'd like
to
to go to a few more.
but we'd like to hit some more. So if there's a con that you'd want to see us attend, that's within a reasonable area of Duluth, Minnesota. I mean, I'd say within 5-6 hours. We'd love to attend. I know there was a couple in the summer down in Minneapolis.
As
that
we
we'd love to
say,
go
we're
to.
going to Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim, California.
Well, that's the big one.
Well, that's
That
the
is
big
the
one.
big
That was where part of the inspiration to do all of this came from. Is that we went there and we're like, hey, there's 30,000 people who love the exact same thing as we do. Let's share in some of that because it's a lot of fun.
True that.
But the one last thing I wanted to talk about independent filmmaking or like small time filmmaking is AJ's excitement and reaction to making that video is how much he enjoyed it. He was blown away, even given the limitations that he had by filming on the phone and editing on his phone. He loved it. Like he was excited. I haven't seen him that excited about something in a long time. Like he was passionate about, sorry, that was a loud clap. He's passionate about like making the video. He was talking to me about song choices and editing to the music and all these little tips that he did. But the whole entire time he had so much fun doing it. And you might be really surprised. It's like I was talking about Chris in the beginning, it's like making videos is really fun. It is a lot of fun. So I highly recommend trying it because anything that you're passionate about, you can turn into a video. And that passion comes across in the video and you can share it with others. And it's a fun way to tell a story that's kind of the way the world has gone to. You know, you used to have cameras used to be film. People used to have to actually develop their film to get their photographs, and now everyone can take a photo and document their entire lives with their phone. But that means so much to so many people. My mom, it's her reflection time. She'll go back and look at her camera roll and look at all the things that she's done, and that's the way for a lot of people.
She posts her pictures to Facebook, and then every year she'll purchase one of the Facebook memory books.
Oh, okay.
And so it'll take like highlights from her year, put it into a book. She'll order it, they'll print it out and send it to her. So
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So what I feel is that what cell phones did to photography is now they're starting to do to video. I think they're starting to get to the point where it's making video so accessible for people that they can really create awesome projects with what they have available in their back pocket. And I'm excited. I'm just like, do it. Let me see your awesome videos. Let me see your awesome stuff. It's really fun.
Well, then, like, speaking about like limitations and stuff, like, you only get better by figuring out how to work around limitations. Like, if you know if your camera's not able to do X, Y, Z, you figure out a way to either avoid those scenarios or to do something to make that scenario a non-issue.
Totally.
And, like, very quick story because we've only got a couple minutes left. When I first started getting into photography, and I still have this camera, the Rebel XT, which is probably the worst DSLR in the universe. You can still buy one on Amazon for like $60.
Really?
They still sell the Rebel XT online.
How long ago was that?
The camera came out, I think, in 2004.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they still sell it?
Yep. Just brand new ones. They're not being manufactured. That's just how many they made.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It only has 1600 ISO.
Yeah, you get 4 choices. You get 100 or 5 choices: 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600.
Yeah,
5 choices. Anything above 100 is terrible.
Yeah. It's so true.
But anyway, so like it only shoots on CF, no SD cards. It's only CF. So you have to find a compact flash card reader, and all that stuff. And but what it does is it makes you really, really, really consider your settings, because it's like, what can I do to not have to raise the ISO on
Correct.
this thing? And it's one of the things that made me like, I could argue that I could take that camera and take as good an image as anybody on any camera.
Right, totally.
Just because of how you learn how to operate it.
Yep.
But so just because you're starting on something that's not like, world class thing, or you don't have the best lenses or whatever, you learn how to work around your limitations. Or you can lean into something, if it does something kind of weird, lean into it harder and make it like a stylistic choice.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of options out there. It's limited by people's creativity. So I think that's sort of a good place to leave that off at.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. And I remember it's been a good camera. And then that was what Lightroom did for me too, though. I started with film, and then jumping into digital. I could never really have fun with digital until Mike D showed me. He's like, dude, you got to use Lightroom. It's a game changer. And it is. It makes post-production so much easier in the way to manage those files, and you really make it dedicated. You can take that raw file, make tweaks to it in Lightroom, and then export it as a JPEG. And then now you have this finished file that you can show off to your friends. You can put it on, I won't date myself. You put it on Flickr.
Yeah, I still have a Flickr account.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Flickr.com/8R0WN13.
Woohoo!
But yeah, then because like Photoshop does a lot of tremendous things, but it's not easily accessible to people that are just moving into it. Just having like the sliders and like the basic controls in Lightroom is awesome.
It's so cool.
But we're out of time now, so this is a shorter podcast. We don't want to have to try and re-trigger the stuff. We've been having some technical issues, like Jeremy was saying. But one issue you shouldn't have is giving a like to this video if you've made it this far into it. We'd appreciate it. Comment below. We've talked about a whole bunch of different things, so it's like, let us know if you've tried making videos, or if you want to do stuff like that, or what type of low budget tips you might have. Like I said, if you're interested in seeing us do some sort of video about DIY filmmaking stuff, we'd be interested in doing that for you. Subscribe if you're not already, and ring the notification bell if you want to be notified every time we upload a video. We'd really appreciate it. It means that you're all in on what we're doing and you want to be notified every time we do something because you like what we're doing. Yay! Thank you guys so much for watching, and of course,
may the force be with you.